This is Steven with HBK Hosting, and in this video I'm going to show people how to secure their website with Ithemes security. And this is a very important step for anyone that runs a WordPress site 2015. There are always new exploits and vulnerabilities found. It's the same way with any content management system or anything on the web, and if you install this plugin and properly set it up, you will be well ahead of the competition when it comes to securing your site, which is extremely important. Now, the first thing you want to do is you want to come into your plugins right here, and then you want to click on Add New. And up in this search plugins box, you type in security. You're going to see a list of them. This video is going to cover Ithemes security. I personally feel that this is the best one. I like the features, I like the interface, I like all the integrations it has. It just works rather well. So we're going to hit install now. I'm going to hit OK. And it downloads and installs. Now I want to hit activate plugin. Now it's going to come up with a list of these features. Now we're just going to set up the basic thing. We're not going to go into all this API key where we have to go to another website and sign up for a free API key. You can do that. It's probably a good idea. But we're just going to set up the basic features of this. We're going to close this. And now we're going to click Secure Your Site. We're going to hit Make a Backup. That backs up your database. Allow file updates. One-click secure. And yes, I'd like to help because I don't mind sending them information about their plugin. You don't have to do that. Then we're going to click this to get rid of that message. And now the first thing you're going to want to do before you even do anything that it's telling you to do, and you don't want to temporarily whitelist your IP, you want to permanently whitelist your IP. That's because we're going to turn on invalid login like features. So if someone comes on your website and they get the wrong login, it locks them out. If you don't do this part, it's going to lock you out at the same time too. So we go down to this box right here, and we hit add current IP to whitelist. I'm obviously not going to do that in the video because then I would be giving away my IP address to the world, but you'd want to click this button. It's going to put your IP address up here. When you do that, you come down here and you hit save all changes, and then you're ready to start securing your website, which is very, very easy with this plugin, which is why I highly recommend it. Now, this one we're going to hit fix it. You want to deal with the red issues first. Now keep in mind, a lot of the stuff that these, I'm going to set it to 14 days, not 30, because the particular site I'm working on does not change that much. If you have a site that you're putting posts on and updating it frequently, you're probably going to want to keep that at 3 days. But you got to watch out because you set it too frequent, you don't have that much space, you can run out of space pretty quick. So that's the first step. Now we can go back to the dashboard, and there's two less away. There's one less red item to take care of. You can do this malware scanning. The time restraints, I'm not going to do it in the video. Basically, you hit enable malware scanning, and it will instruct you on how to go to this website to get a completely free virus scanning key. This is, then you can, for free, you can have your website scanned for malware once a day, which is a pretty nice feature. The admin users still exist. This depends on you. If you like your main user account to be admin, leave it like that, because we're going to turn in logon protection, and if people get the wrong password for it 3 or 4 times, it's going to lock them out anyway, so I don't really pay attention to that one. If you have, it is a good idea though, because most brute force attacks are going to use the WordPress username admin. So if you want to change that, you would go into your users right here, and you would hit your profile, and you would start making changes to your username. You wouldn't want it to be admin. So let's start going down with these other things. This is the first one we want to turn on. this 404 protection. We hit fix it, and this is generally how this plugin works. You just hit fix it and click enable, and then hit save all changes. Now you're protected from 404 exploits, people looking for vulnerabilities in your website. If they get a page that doesn't exist a few times, it'll ban their IP address. This one I don't recommend turning on. I think this is a terrible option. It's just my opinion. What that does is it makes it so you can only log into your WordPress dashboard at a certain time during the day. Whatever you set, I don't think that's a good idea. I think it should be open 24 hours a day. You never know what's going to happen that you need to log into your WordPress site. And so I do not recommend turning this on. This one right here has a lot to do with that API key I closed when I first started making this video. So I'm not going to bother with this either. The brute force protection. Actually, later there's a much better way of protecting from that than using any API key. You don't need to purchase Backup Buddy. That's a bunch of nonsense. All they're trying to do there is get you to buy something off them that they get a kickback for. You can see it up here. Backup Buddy is absolutely not necessary on any single host that has cPanel, which is a majority of them. cPanel full backup does a far better job than Backup Buddy will ever be able to do. There's no disputing that. You could also download one called Duplicator. It's free. It's called WP Duplicator. You can add that as a plugin, and you can do your own backups. There's no reason to purchase any kind of backup plugin. There are free ones that are much better. That's all this is doing, is promoting something that they get a kickback from. The next thing is file change protection. Now this one can get a little annoying, because what this is going to do, I always enable this. You hit enable file change protection, and what this is going to do is anytime files change on your website for any reason, it's going to send you an email, and it's going to say, hey, these files have changed, you need to look into this. You'll get a lot of these emails, especially if you're using a file-based caching plugin. But what they're going to do, maybe you can make an email address just for these emails, because what this does is if you do get exploited, because there's no one-size-fits-all security that's going to stop everything, but if you do get exploited, it's going to send you an email message that says which files have changed. Makes it a heck of a lot easier finding out where the exploit is or where the hacked files are if you have that turned on. But the downside to that is you are going to get a lot of emails, especially if you use a file-based caching plugin, because they change all the time then. But that's a necessary step. It makes it a lot easier to detect or to find exploits after they happen. This one is extremely important right here. Extremely important. Your WordPress dashboard is using the default address. So we click this, and what this is going to do is it's going to change our login from the WP admin to whatever we put it to here. So we're going to click enable, and the default's WP login. I recommend changing that, because obviously changing it from one default to another is not going to solve the problem. Make it your name or something like that. If your name is Steven like me, make it WP Steven. For the demo purposes, I'm just going to leave it as is, but I recommend that you do not do that. You hit save changes. Now every time you log into WordPress, it's not going to be WP admin anymore. It's going to be WP login, all one word. And what that does is that eliminates 100% of brute force attacks instantly, because brute force attacks are going to be trying to log into WP admin. They're not going to be logging into whatever you set it there. So that is the single most important step in securing your WordPress site right there. So when you're done with that, you're going to scroll down the list. We're going to enable this. You're not protecting common WordPress files from access. You're going to hit this. We're going to click here. And this is another one we're going to hit at the same time since we're on this screen. We're going to hit System Files, Protect System Files. Now we're going to go down here and click Disable PHP and Uploads. You do not want to let anyone upload PHP in your uploads directory. That is a very good way to get exploited. Basically what that means is you're allowing people to upload PHP scripts into your upload directory and then run them. That is a very good way to get exploited. You definitely want to turn this on. Disable PHP and Uploads. That is essential to securing your WordPress site. So now we come back in here and we go back into the dashboard, And now we're going to see your WordPress is not blocking suspicious looking information. This is one you want to try at your own risk. You want to try it because this depends on plugins. Filter suspicious query strings and URLs. This is a good one to turn on, but sometimes once in a while you're going to be using a plugin that's not going to like this and it's going to make the plugin stop. So turn that on, and remember where this is at. It's towards the bottom of the settings page. See the scroll bar over here. So you want to turn this on, and if your website, if something stops working on your website, you want to turn it back off. What this is going to do is filter people from using like injection strings and things in the URL at the top. Very important to turn that on. But if it doesn't work, if it conflicts with your plugins, you can turn it back off. This one's an important one. Your WordPress installation is allowing users with a user agent, without a user agent, to post comments. That's where most of the spam comes from. Fix this. Reduce comment spam. Also click display random version. And this will throw off a lot of these automated bots, so you want to turn that one on too. And then the next one it said on the previous screen is XML RPC. Now this is one of the biggest ways to get exploited in the WordPress site. They're always finding exploits with XML RPC. So if you're not using Jetpack, anything that uses XML RPC like that, you want to change this to completely disable. If you are using features like Jetpack, then you want to change it to only disable trackbacks and pingbacks. You don't want them anyway. In this case, I'm not using Jetpack. I've never used it. I don't see the reason for it. So I'm going to click completely disable XML RPC. And when we get back here, we have these 5 things that are left. I'm not going to deal with any of them. I don't consider them important, especially ones like this. Now we get spam mail when we're doing this. We don't want to, there's no reason to purchase Backup Buddy, in my opinion. There's no reason for it. This one can be ignored. Now this one, I don't recommend doing it. I think it's too risky. If you hit fix it, they're even going to warn you about this. Changing the, it says right here, back up your database before using this tool, and it says up here, you want to use this technique on a fresh WordPress install. I don't want to do either one of those because I don't want to. This tutorial isn't to use. This tutorial is not covering controversial ones that could possibly break your site. What we're doing here is doing the ones that are going to work and are not going to compromise your site or make it or break it. Those two, this one or this one right here, this could possibly break your site. It depends on your plugin usage, your theme usage, and how old your site is. Now this you can enable if you get a free key from them. This one I'd highly recommend you leave off because not all of these are necessary in my opinion. If you get a free key, you can do the malware scanning. If you change your user address, you'll get rid of the 2 red ones. I don't really put much faith in this. Actually, you know what it says when you click on it. I've never done this before because I don't see where it's an issue. And this is another one that says warning, back up your database first. So any of these ones that give us big warnings like that, we're not going to do in this video because we don't want to be responsible for breaking your WordPress site in any of our tutorial videos. That's pretty much it. Now if you do every step that we just said in this video, you're going to have a much more secure WordPress site. And if something does go wrong, not only are you going to have a backup from your database backups, but you're also going to have a file change detection log and an email address that is going to tell you that these are the files that got changed. So if you do get exploited, it's going to be much easier finding where it's at. If you decide to get the brute force protection key and the malware scanning key for free, you are going to get a daily report on malware findings or anything of that nature, and it makes it even more secure. Now, do not confuse the malware scanning in this plugin with the malware scanning offered by HBK hosting. They are not the same thing. We offer a much better form of malware scanning, which is why it costs money, extra money when you're signing up for it. And this is the free version. It's nothing wrong with the free version. It does a great job, but the one we offer scans more pages and does a bit more. But basic protection, there's nothing wrong with the free key. So that's pretty much it. If you followed this, you should have a nice and secure WordPress site. You should have like a 90% less chance of getting hacked or exploited. So I will make sure I emphasize that there is not a single plugin, just like on a computer, there is no antivirus on a Windows-based PC that is going to stop every virus. It's just impossible. They have to come out with the virus before the people that make the antivirus can fix it and detect the virus. The same applies for WordPress websites. They have to come out with the exploit before these programs can patch the exploit. What this security does is it's a very good preventative maintenance or preventative feature, whereas if someone, it prevents common exploits, but there is no substitution for if WordPress comes out with a major update and they tell you that the last one I think was with Heartbleed. There was a problem with SSL certificates, and WordPress says update right away. When you see security updates like that from WordPress, there is no substitution for updating right away. If you're not going to update when stuff like that comes out, you're going to run the risk of getting exploited. What this does is makes your site more secure, but you cannot just rely on a security plugin. You still have to do your updates excuse me, whenever you see that there's a security update that comes out, a major one like that from WordPress. I'm not talking about updating it every time WordPress comes out with an update. It does it quite often. What I'm talking about is when you see a major security release being updated, you should still update your website. You can't just say, oh, I got a security plugin, I don't got to worry about that. That's not going to cut it. This does a great job at securing your WordPress site, but you still have to do your updates, and they do come out with updates for this plugin quite often too, and whenever they do that, I highly recommend you keep this plugin updated as well. And that's it. You should be well on your way to having a secure WordPress site if you follow this.